guys, welcome to Planning with Crystal. Today's Nespresso comparison video is going to be between the Nespresso Pop and the Nespresso Next. So the Nespresso Next we're going to be looking at here is one of the standard editions. The only real difference between the different versions of Nespresso Next are a few extra kind of chrome accents, such as around the cup holder and things here. All the functionality, size, etc. is exactly the same. So I have had my Nespresso Next since May 2020, so nearly 3 years. Nespresso Pop is fairly new. So we're going to compare a lot of the features. We're going to compare things like the size, what this machine can do, what the difference is, and hopefully this will help you to decide which is the kind of better machine for you. There is an in-depth review video of each machine. I will link each of those at the end of this video if you want to check out one of the machines in more detail. I will also be doing a comparison with the Nespresso Vertuo Plus between that and the Pop. There is already a video between the Nespresso Vertuo Next and the Nespresso Vertuo Plus up on the channel. Okay, so the main difference between these two right now, here in the UK as of February 2023, Nespresso Pop retails at £49, whereas your Nespresso Vertuo Next retails at £149. So is it worth spending £100 more on this machine? We shall see. So, as you can see visually, there is a difference in the size. I will put the sizes underneath so you can look at this in a little bit more detail, but the main differences are the Vertuo Next width over here is 14.2 centimetres, the Pop is 13.6 centimetres, 42.6 centimetres, the depth of the Next is 42.9 centimetres, so very, very little difference in those two measurements. Height is obviously where you will see the biggest difference, which is of course really important to consider if you are trying to put this machine under a kitchen unit or something of that nature. So the height of the Vertuo Next is 31.4 centimetres, whereas the height of the Pop is only 25 centimetres. Now that measurement is to the top of this, and when you start to open the machines, it does add on a little bit more as well. So just kind of bear that in mind. It takes up a little bit more space when you actually open up the machine as well. There is a little bit of a weight difference. I'm not sure that that's particularly relevant to most people. Unless you plan on travelling with your coffee machine or moving it around quite a lot, it's probably not that relevant how heavy it is, unless you maybe store it in a cupboard and keep getting it out. But the Vertuo Pop weighs in at 3.5 kilograms, whereas the Next is 4 kilograms, so an extra half of a kilogram if that is relevant to you. So the preheat times on the two machines, Nespresso Pop over here, it takes 30 seconds to preheat from cold, so you can start making your first drink, whereas over on the Next, it's 25 to 30 seconds, so very little difference. In terms of its kind of eco-friendly features, your Nespresso Pop will switch itself off after 2 minutes of you not using it, whereas it will take Vertuo Next 9 minutes to do that. So just bear that in mind. Again, if that is a consideration, or if you're somebody who regularly forgets to switch off your machine, then the Pop might be better for you. They both have Bluetooth connectivity, but that is purely so that your machine can have updates pushed to it from Nespresso when that's relevant. It doesn't have any other functionality other than pushing updates to your machine. If you want to know how to pair your machine with your device so that you can enable your Bluetooth connectivity, I did cover that in the next video. Again, I will link it at the end if that is something you need to know about. There is a video that explains a little bit how to pair your machine with Bluetooth. Cable length on both machines is between 75 and 80 centimetres, so personally I wish it was much longer, but that's just me. So just something to bear in mind, like I said, when you're deciding where to kind of put your machine and that kind of thing. Now obviously the size difference is going to have a different impact on a lot of the things with this machine. So now what I want to do is look at some of the major differences between the machines in terms of the functionality and how it might differ depending on which choice you make. Okay, so now we're looking at the water tanks on the back of the machines, and the reason why I'm drawing your attention to this is for me, I tend to make quite a few coffees for myself and my family, depending on, how many people come around. I might need to make 4, 5, 6 coffees in quick succession. Now, that's where this becomes relevant. If you live on your own or you're just a couple and you're just making one drink each, it probably won't be something you notice, but I wanted to mention it because it's something that became quite apparent to me quite quickly. So the water tank on the Nespresso pot over here being smaller is only 600 millilitres. So if you're going to make, say, the mug-sized coffees, it's going to make just over 2 before you need to refill it. Whereas the Vertuo Next has got a water tank which is 1.1 litre. So that is nearly double what you're going to get from the pot. Again, only a minor thing, but it might be something you want to consider depending on how much you intend to use this machine. We will shortly be addressing the issue of which size drinks can these machines make, because there is a slight difference there as well. But I also wanted to bring to your attention how many capsules the capsule holder can hold in the machine, because again, something you're going to have to potentially keep emptying. So each machine has got a little section here, and this is where your capsules will drop into. Once you've made your coffee and you've reopened the machine to make your next one, the capsule is going to slide down here and it's going to drop into your capsule holder. Now the sizes again are different on these because obviously your Vertuo Next is a significantly bigger machine and therefore everything is bigger and it can hold more. So over here on the right, you can see this is the capsule container for the pop, and this will hold between 5 and 6 capsules depending on the size of the capsule. If you're familiar with Nespresso Vertuo, there are different size capsules. I will show you in just a second what I mean, and therefore it's going to take up more space depending on the size of the capsule. This one over here is for the Vertuo Next, and this one will hold up to 10. In my experience, it holds a little bit more, again, depending on the size of capsules you are using. So you're going to have to think about, if you've got the pop, this is going to need emptying more frequently than the Vertuo Next one. Okay, so when we're talking about the cup size differences, there are 4 different capsules in the Vertuo range. Well, technically there are 5, but for all of the machines, all machines that are Vertuo size machines can dispense all 4 of these capsules. And if you watch the individual video of each machine, you will see us making all the different size drinks. Now, there is a 5th one, which you can only use with Nespresso Vertuo Next, which I will cover in a second, because I think it's definitely worth mentioning, and it has got that additional kind of functionality to make a different size of coffee. But for most of the machines, they'll all dispense these coffees. Now, if you're not familiar with Vertuo Next, the way that these particular capsules work, they have a barcode on them like this. You put them in the machine like this, and the machine is going to spin the capsule with using centrifugal force. It will scan the barcode and then it will dispense the relevant amount of water for that size of coffee. So all of that is done for you. Each machine only has the one button on the top. You press that button, the machine knows how much water you're going to need. It's a little bit different from the Nespresso original machines, which I do also have and have also made videos of, in that you can only use Nespresso capsules because they've made it so that you need these ones with a special barcode on. So there's another consideration if you're considering a Vertuo machine, that generally you'll have to buy your capsules from Nespresso. There are some way you can kind of refill them, and like other companies that do kind of workarounds for it. But in the main, if you want to buy purpose-built capsules, you're probably going to have to get them from Nespresso. So back to the sizes here. We have got this one, which is going to do you an espresso-sized coffee, the smallest one at 40 ml. This one is your double espresso, and it does say on the other side how much coffee each one dispenses if you forget or you pick up the capsule and you're not sure which one it is. This one is a Gran Lungo size, which is 150 ml, and this one is mug size, which is 230 ml. For me, I find myself using these 2 sizes of capsule the most because they do the most. So you're not having to keep refilling your coffee. You can just make yourself a mug or a Gran Lungo and it lasts quite a long time. Both of the machines featured here will dispense all 4 of these coffees. But as I said, and this is where it becomes a little bit different, your Vertuo Next will allow you to do a whole carafe of coffee. Let's see what I mean. So Nespresso makes a carafe. It is this glass one here. It's double walled. Hopefully you can see that slight difference there on the inside of the glass. It's also got like a rubberized grip around it. It's got a little N on there, and that's just to help you grab it without obviously burning your hands. Not that this gets that hot, because it doesn't. It has a rubberized little lid there to keep the heat in, and it also comes with a little rubberized spoon that says Nespresso on it. if you want to kind of stir your coffee, which I would definitely recommend stirring it before you pour it out into your cups. Now, this particular carafe, when I bought it when it first came out, it cost me £40. They're now £44. Things are going up. Obviously, if you're an Nespresso member, depending on your level of membership, you may be able to get discounts and things on accessories like this. But I'm just mentioning that because that's something we're going to show you now in the video. So the fifth elusive capsule that is only to be used with the Vertuo Next, it will not work on any of the other machines, is this little fella. So this is the carafe pour over style. So this only comes in one type. There is no like variation with the carafe coffee. There is only one. It will make 535 ml of coffee or 18 ounce. The capsules currently retail at the time of February 2023 at 99p per capsule. It's a roasted and smoky coffee, and I do find it makes 2 to 2.5 cupfuls of coffee. So it's 99p, more expensive than the other capsules, but you're getting a lot more coffee with it. This is what the capsule looks like. I just wanted to leave these other ones out so you can kind of see the size difference. So you can see them in size order. It's significantly larger than all the other coffees. So before we go back to a bit more comparison between the machines, let's have a look at this carafe and what that looks like. So we're going to remove this little cup support here. It's got like different levels on this machine, so you can move it up depending on the size of the coffee you're dispensing and depending on the size of the cup. But for purposes of this, you're going to pop your spout under the machine like this. Obviously take off that lid and just push it under there just to make sure it's aligning enough so that the coffee's also going to get into the carafe and nowhere else. You're going to open your machine, and this is the same operation in both machines. You're going to grab a hold of this, swing it to the right, and it will pop open. We're going to get our carafe capsule, like I said, flat bit facing up, dropping it in like this. Push the lid down and spin it across to the left. Definitely a bit of a design issue for me in that you need 2 arms to shut the machine. I never think that's ideal, particularly because not everybody will necessarily be able to use both arms, so that isn't ideal. But you then press the button on top and it'll start to dispense our carafe sized coffee. I may need to speed this up, it can take a while. I'll put on the screen exactly how long this coffee took to dispense. That noise you can hear there is the spinning of the capsule, and now it's starting to push the water through and push the coffee out into the carafe. Okay, so we've got our carafe of coffee. It should, in theory, lift up the capsule and slide it into the back. Doesn't always happen, as demonstrated here. So we've got our carafe of coffee now. I definitely recommend using the lid to keep the heat in. My personal experience with this particular carafe, it's not the best at keeping the heat in, and you know, you do need to drink it fairly quickly. If you were to leave it for half an hour, it would be lukewarm at best. So what I tend to do, I don't let it sit for too long. I've made the coffee because I want to drink it. I've got the little rubber spoon, and I would say try and use the one that comes with the machine, because if you use a metal spoon, it obviously is clanking about there in the glass and isn't great for it. I like to give it a little stir. It just seems to really help. Otherwise, all the strength ends up at the bottom, and the first person who gets a drink gets the best, or the last person, depending on how that ends up working. But you can see it's a nice filter coffee, and it is a really nice tasty coffee. I particularly really like this particular blend they've gone for with the carafe. Like I said, I just wish they had a bit more choice because I think it's a great option. I just would love to see them bring out a few more variations in that coffee. Okay, back to the other kind of comparison things I wanted to mention. Like I said, both machines are going to open and close in the exact same way, which is kind of frustrating because I find I can do it one-handed to open. However, when I go to close the machine, I sometimes find I need 2 hands. So just a little bit of something to bear in mind. Cup holder wise, like I said, on the Next, you can move this up. So if you've got a small cup for your espresso, you can put it there. A slightly larger cup, you can put it there. And if you've got a much larger cup, you're doing mug size or whatever, you can use it like this. Another thing where I think this becomes particularly important, so on the pop you've just got this little rest like this, so it's going to depend on the size of cup you're using. So if you're using a kind of standard household cup, you would need to remove that rest to fit the cup under it, and depending on the style of the cup it still might not fit, so that's a bit of a design flaw for me. Not to mention, if you do like to take a coffee with you in the car in the morning on your way to work or however you get to work, I certainly do, it's useful to be able to fit that cup underneath to dispense your coffee. A little bit of a problem with the pop. This is a standard travel cup from Nespresso and it's a pretty standard size. It's certainly not any bigger than any other cups I've got. If anything, it's probably smaller than some of the travel cups I have. This just isn't going to fit. You would have to stand here and hold the cup while it dispenses your coffee in the morning. It's not a major thing, but for me, I like to kind of press and get on with making my breakfast while it's dispensing. So for the Vertuo Next, it just fits. I think it might even fit on the cup holder, there we go. So you can just press and kind of get on with your breakfast and things while it's dispensing the coffee, whereas with this one, you're having to kind of stand there and you're having to kind of hold it at an angle. So it is only a minor thing, but for me, who makes coffee to take to work with me every day, it's a bit of a deal breaker, and I really wanted to mention it because I'm sure I'm not the only one who does that. At the time of making the video, Nespresso are offering 50 capsules with any of the Nespresso Vertuo machines, including both of these two and also the Vertuo Plus, which I've reviewed separately. And like I said, I'll be doing a comparison between that and the Pop machine. There's already a comparison with this machine over on my YouTube channel. But if you do decide to buy your machine from a different retailer other than Nespresso, you can still claim the capsules over on the Nespresso website. So for example, with the Pop, it comes in a whole range of colours, as does the Next. If the colour you want isn't in stock on Nespresso, I will try and link all the different colour options and things underneath. You can buy it from a different retailer and then just go to Nespresso to collect the capsules you're owed. And like I said, there's 50 capsules and you'll find the exact 50 that are offered with the machines right now, certainly the ones I got myself in February 2023 when I bought the Pop, in the Pop specific video. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching these videos. I hope it's helped you to decide which Nespresso machine to go for. And I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know you're enjoying the content I'm producing. I would love it if you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when my next video goes live. The next Nespresso video after this is likely to be the Nespresso Pop with the Nespresso Vertuo Plus. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.